Well, welcome back to CBMCalling. I'm Louise Hannem. I'm the team lead for Global Discipleship here at CBM, and I have the pleasure of facilitating our Sent trips, which they offer our churches and individuals the ability to learn and to serve alongside our local church partners in places like El Salvador, where I was just over a year ago. And obviously, it has been a little bit quieter on the international travel front since the beginning of the pandemic. But we are patiently waiting for the time when we can travel again, when it's safe for us to go from Canada to other parts of the world, and we can't wait for that. In the meantime, though, we are staying active in mission. As you saw off the top with the intro video, Active in Mission is an annual fundraising and awareness campaign which highlights specific areas of our work at CBM. In 2020, our focus was on Latrines for Life, which is a program we run in El Salvador with our Enlace partner churches. Last year was our kickoff, and we managed to build 45 latrines through over $34,000 raised. And we are grateful to have had such a successful first year. It was also a lot of fun. And that brings us to Active in Mission 2021. As we know firsthand here in Canada, the impact of the pandemic it's had a big impact on our kids and our schools. And our partners around the world, they've also lamented the loss of schooling for many, many children who are already vulnerable or living in marginalized contexts. The World Bank estimates that at the peak of the school closures in April 2020, 94% of students were out of school worldwide. That's 1.6 billion children. And around 700 million students today are still studying from home. These lockdowns and school closures have highlighted further the inequalities in our world between those with and without digital access. So our focus this year for Active in Mission is to raise funds for the education programs that CBM helps to facilitate around the world. We're currently active in education in these 8 countries: in Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Bolivia, Rwanda, Lebanon, India, Myanmar, and the Philippines. Well, today we're going to learn about our work in the Philippines through our partner KPM and the work that we do together in childcare centers there. And so to get a better understanding of what we're involved in there, I've invited my friend and my colleague, Michael-Waddell, to join me today. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Louise, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, great to see you. Help us out by introducing us to KPM and the type of work that they're doing in the Philippines.
Yeah, KPM actually is a short form of their name. It's actually Kabuganaan Philippine Ministries, and that word Kabuganaan actually means abundance, and it's taken from the scripture reference John 10:10. And they're a mission program that supports the Association of Baptist Churches. There's about 52 Baptist churches in Capiz province that KPM works on behalf of those churches to carry out various mission programs in certain poor and marginalized communities throughout Capiz province. So they have a sort of a broad range of work that they do within the province, and one of them, which happens to be childcare centers and educational programming like that. And so, yeah, actually, earlier this week, I had the opportunity to reach out to Reverend Pheobe and Phoebe Santiago. They are the administrators of KPM, and also to Celeste, who is one of the missionary teachers of one of the childcare centers in Libas in Rojas City. So we had a conversation about sort of the last year and the pandemic and how that sort of has affected their work and their ministry. And yeah, maybe we could just have a listen to that. Well, I am here with my very good friends, Reverend Pheobe and Phoebe Santiago and Pastor Celeste Martinez Collado. Pheobe and Phoebe are the administrators for our partner in the Philippines, Kabuganaan Philippine Ministries. And Phoebe also works as the guidance director at Philomar Christian University in Rojas City. And Pastor Pheobe also serves as the executive minister for the Capisnon Kasipulanan of Baptist churches in Capiz province. Celeste also works as the child care center teacher in Libas in Rojas City. I think I'd like to begin, Pastor Pheobe, by asking you just if you could share with us a little bit about KPM's childcare centers.
Providing opportunities for education of children and youth is one of the major program thrusts of the Kabuganaan Philippines Ministries, or KPM. Along with this, we have initiated to establish child care centers for early childhood education of children ages 2 to 4 years old. We have also established a program for young people who are poor but determined to pursue college education by providing them some financial assistance, leadership, and spiritual formation as part of discipleship and other forms of support. At present, we have 5 child care centers. 3 of them are located in remote mountainous areas, and 2 are located in the urban poor areas here in the city of Rojas. Each center has a missionary teacher who lives in the area. Presently, we are catering to around 94 children, boys and girls. Before the pandemic, we have more than 100 children. KPM opted for these remote and urban poor areas because these are the most depressed and deprived communities where children lack access to government educational facilities.
The children are very eager to learn. They were very excited every day to enter the school building because they were very excited to learn something new and something different from the very usual kind of teaching that the teacher is giving.
That sounds really amazing, and certainly sounds like you've been busy in leading those childcare centers over the past year. All of really education in the Philippines right now is on home-based learning, and so as childcare centers, you've taken the approach of preparing modules where you're preparing lessons and then sending them home with the children or with the parents to do at home. But Celeste, that must be very difficult as a teacher to not be able to have your students in the center with you. I mean, what kind of challenges do the children, face with trying to learn from home? And do they have the ability to use internet, or how do they do that? Can you share with us how home-based learning is actually happening with your students?
It's very difficult. And for the record, this school year, this is the highest enrolled children in Libas. I have 60 children enrolled this year. So it's very difficult because I don't have the opportunity to really teach them the lesson face to face. We have a group chat with the parents, so I can ask the parents of how the children are doing. So yes, even with these difficulties with the teacher and parents and the KPM, we're doing good.
I'm wondering, Celeste, if you could just talk for a little bit about the risks that children face when they are perhaps left out of educational opportunities. If for some reason KPM was not able to have these childcare centers, or for some reason they were unable to be involved in educational opportunities, what do children face in the Philippines in those cases?
So the risk is they will have no interest in learning and in education. The KPM there is not just as a teacher. I'm not just teaching that in a childcare center in a kindergarten, but I am also having a Sunday school with the children, so I can cater the children in the community. Not just limiting the 5 years old, but I can have the opportunity to talk with the young teens to encourage them to study and to dream. They can achieve something because God has plans for them, big plans for them. So giving them hope and giving them the encouragement to thirst for education, because education can help them uh, in getting their dreams.
Yeah, that's great. You're doing such wonderful work there, Celeste, with the children, and that's awesome to hear. Just quickly, Phoebe, I know that KPM also is involved with college-age students with your program PABIA, Percy Buck Educational Aid Program. What is it? What's the last year look like for that group? Is college been affected in the same way as the childcare centers with relation to COVID and schooling?
Presently, we have 18 young people under the student aid and discipleship program. And their studies have been negatively impacted due to abrupt change in the mode of learning. So this time, because of the pandemic, the teaching learning is really very challenging, both for the learners and for the teachers as well. Nevertheless, our students under this PBIA or the student aid program is still going on, and the students are doing very good and coping as much as they can with the assistance of KPM, checking them online, how are they doing, and hopefully they can make it this school year.
One of the things that's always impressed me about the Filipino spirit is your resiliency, and certainly I think over the last year we've seen that in students that are involved in KPM's educational programming, that they're just resilient and determined to reach their educational goals, and KPM has certainly been a really key part of a lot of young people's education. So just in closing, Pastor Pheobe, can you maybe just quickly share with us, why is it that KPM is so committed to providing educational programming, educational opportunities like this for children, young children, for college-age students?
Early childhood education is one of the basic rights of children. The poor children living in a remote and depressed communities are deprived of this right. If the state cannot efficiently do it, it is the duty of the church and the mission agencies, for that matter, to reach out the poor and deprived children. The bright future lies on the education they get, and education should start at their early stage of their development. Once they lost this opportunity, they indulge in early marriages, cannot find jobs to earn their living, and they would be forced to stay in their depressed communities and repeat the cycle of poverty. They have not only improved their lives, but even the living conditions of their families as they dream about it, and their communities as well. They become a good, better person in their communities. They begin to share life in abundance.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Pheobe and Phoebe and Pastor Celeste, for being with us today, for sharing about KPM's educational programming. You just have done really a fantastic job of just giving us a little bit of a glimpse, a little bit of an understanding of sort of what the last year has looked like, the challenges, but also the joys and the hope that remains. And we're just so thankful for that. Please be assured of your Canadian Baptist partners here. We are praying for you. And we just wish you all the best, and God bless.
Thanks so much, Michael. That is fantastic to have that interview. There's just so many good truths communicated there. And I'm really struck by Phoebe's words when he said that the church is responsible to care for those who are poor. He did such a beautiful job at articulating how education is really a key to breaking out of the cycle of generational poverty, and really just the key to a brighter future. Fantastic.
Yeah, he did a great job of articulating that. You're right. And I've always been impressed, in our time of working with KPM, and particularly with Phoebe and Phoebe and many missionary teachers like Celeste, and just the people that we have met who have come through their educational programs. We talked also in the interview about their PABIA program, which is for the older college age kids. And, we've met many of them who have come through those programs, who come from very poor families, very poor communities and upbringings, but have managed to get through and achieve their educational goals, and who have gone on and gotten, good jobs, good careers, who have been able to support their families, who have, supported them for so many years through all their education. they're active in their community, they're active in their church. And it's just really exciting to see how KPM's work and the work in partnership with the local churches there have really helped a whole, large group of children and young adults come through, and just to have hope of a better life and a better future for themselves and their families.
Mm-hmm. And certainly a large group. I am in awe of Celeste and
Yeah.
having 60 children.
Yeah.
I worked for a very brief time in a preschool, and so I'm in awe of her ability with that. I could not handle that.
Yeah.
I also love that she talked about just how important preschool education is, because if kids don't develop an interest for that at a young age, she just talked about the effects of what happens. And you and I both have kids, and so we know that truth. We know that if there's a negative experience with education early on, just how detrimental that can be for their future. So I just think it's incredible that they have teachers like Celeste to love them and care for them, and obviously going above and beyond as they're visiting all of these children while they're not able to meet together during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if you picked up on it. You probably did, where Celeste talked about the fact that their preschool, their childcare centers focus on learning, playing, and feeding. And for me, that's really a really cool sort of way to go about education. It's, yes, they want to learn their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s, but it's also about teaching children and these families about good nutrition and hygiene and how to play together, with other kids their own age, and just to be living in community together in peaceable and healthy ways. And so, they're just doing such a great work in those communities where they have their centers.
Absolutely. Yeah. The education that we're promoting and working for at CBM is not about being, at the top of the class. It's not about getting straight A's. It's really about developing into health and really being healthy in all aspects of life. So absolutely. Yeah, and this childcare center, through our work with KPM in the Philippines, it's just one of several that your participation in Active in Mission will help through this coming year. I have a team that is a part of Active in Mission, a team through my church, Timberley Baptist. We're just called Team-tbc. And for Active in Mission, we are going to walk from the elementary school in our community to the middle school in our community. And we're going to take some time to pray at each of those schools. It's just over a 6-kilometer walk. So we're looking forward to that. But Michael, tell me what you're doing for Active in Mission during the week of July 18th to the 26th.
Yeah, well, first of all, Louise, good on you for a 6K walk. That's no small feat. That's good. For myself, I don't actually have a team yet, other than myself and Melanie and our children. Hopefully I can rope them into joining me on it.
That's a big team.
Yeah, that's already a big team. 3 of our kids this year, our oldest 3, are working at one of our Baptist camps here in New Brunswick at Camp Talakadik. And so my hope is to actually be able to go out there that particular week and they've got a beautiful lake there with canoes and stuff. I haven't actually talked to the director yet, but I think he'll be all right with it. But I'd like to get out there and do some canoeing and kayaking around the lake in support of Active in Mission and these wonderful educational things that CBM partners with great organizations all around the globe.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to keep an eye on your page and see how you're doing. And certainly we'll look forward to some photos of that as well. So thanks so much for joining us today, Michael. We really appreciate your insights into this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, before we sign off, I want you to know that the Active in Mission site is built to make this a fun and easy way for you to get involved. The pages are already built and the system takes care of all of the rest. Watch this 2-minute video and see just how simple it is.
Joining Active in Mission is easy, and I'm going to show you how. To get started, head over to the Active in Mission homepage. There, you'll find a button labeled Join the Campaign. Click it to start the process. If you joined last year's campaign, click Login and enter your login details on the following page. If you're new to Active in Mission, enter your email and a password you would like to use. Then click Create My Account. Upload your profile image. Using a square image will get the best results. Then enter your first and last name and hit Continue. Next, add a registration amount. You can always register for free, but if you feel motivated to give your fundraising a head start, you can give in one of the following tiers. Give what you can. Each quantity will add $1 to your total. Give a toonie for each year you attended school. Support kids' education for 1 month at $25 per month. Support kids' education for 1 year at $300 per month. Once you choose and add your amount to the registration, you'll be asked to enter your credit card details. Then hit Process Payment. On the next screen, you'll enter your display name, page URL, and fundraising goal. Once you've done that, hit the Continue button. In the next step, you'll need to enter your personal fundraising page details. We've provided a basic introduction to get you started, but if you want to make it your own, you can do that here. You can also do this later in your dashboard. Finally, share your page by email or on social media to encourage others to give to your fundraising goal, or even join your team and walk with you for education. Once you're done, click the All Done button to head to your dashboard. And that's it. You've signed up for Active in Mission. Thanks for joining us as we get active to work towards a better, brighter future.
Well, it's easy to join, and we would love for you to take part with us. So sign up at activinmission.ca. Thanks so much for joining us on CBM Calling. I'll be back in just a couple of weeks to speak with Callie Hutton, who will be sharing about the educational programs in Bolivia that will also be supported through Active in Mission.